Once upon a time, liquor was made and sold by people with names like Jim Beam and Jack Daniels. But these days, it's more like The Rock and Ryan Reynolds. Yes, it suddenly feels like every celebrity you've ever heard of is out there pimping their own brand of booze. And that's why today we're going to figure out which celebrity liquor is the best. Before we get too far, be sure you subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. After that, leave a comment down below to let us know what other celebrity-related food topics you would like us to cover. For as long as there have been celebrities who want to parlay their fame into other forms of success. Paul Newman turned his homemade salad dressing into a charity empire. Britney Spears made millions off perfume, and Hulk Hogan thought the world needed a Hulk Hogan-branded pasta restaurant. Spoiler alert, it didn't. But in the last decade or so, one particular lane has overtaken all the others: liquor. If you're scrolling through Instagram and see a celebrity holding up a bottle of something with their name on it, chances are it's not water, not soda, not coffee. It's tequila, vodka, gin, whiskey, or rum. In other words, the celebrity liquor brand isn't just a curiosity anymore, it's an entire industry. Of course, celebrity alcohol endorsements are nothing new. The French champagne. Frank Sinatra, for example, practically became Jack Daniel's living mascot in the 20th century, often photographed with a glass in hand. But Frank was more of an enthusiastic customer than an owner. The first wave of celebrity ownership came later. In the 1990s, Sammy Hagar, the Van Halen guy who can't drive 55, launched Cabo Wabo Tequila. It was a head-scratcher at the time, but the brand took off, and Hagar eventually sold it for a whopping $80 million. Around that same time, Dan Aykroyd leaned into his eccentric love of the paranormal and launched Crystal Head Vodka, packaged in a literal glass skull. For years, if you walked into a liquor store, that skull was the only obvious celebrity liquor on the shelf. And then came George Clooney. Clooney and his friend Randy Gerber, who happens to be married to Cindy Crawford, started Casamigos Tequila in 2013. Their pitch was simple: a smoother tequila they actually wanted to drink. Within a few years, it wasn't just successful, it was astronomically successful. In 2017, Diageo swooped in and bought Casamigos for the staggering price of $1 billion. And yes, that was billion with a B. Overnight, Clooney wasn't just Hollywood royalty, he was one of the richest liquor moguls in the world. And that sale was the big bang moment for celebrity liquor brands. It told every other star in Hollywood that liquor wasn't just a vanity project, it was a golden ticket. After all, why settle for endorsing a brand when you could own one? After Casamigos, the trickle became a flood. Ryan Reynolds bought into Aviation Gin, rebranded it as sarcasm wrapped in booze, and then sold it for $845 million. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson launched Teremana Tequila, which almost immediately became one of the fastest-growing spirits in America. And Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul leaned into their Breaking Bad chemistry and started Dos Hombres Mezcal. But it wasn't just actors, athletes wanted in. So Michael Jordan founded Cincoro Tequila with a group of NBA owners. LeBron James invested in Lobos 1707, a tequila and mezcal brand he regularly shouts out on social media. Peyton Manning, apparently not content to just do insurance commercials, launched Sweeten's Cove Bourbon, named after a Tennessee golf course, and Conor McGregor bulldozed his way into the market with proper No. 12 Irish whiskey, which for a brief moment was the fastest-selling whiskey brand in the world. Then the musicians piled on. Bob Dylan's Heaven's Door whiskey came in bottles etched with his wrought iron artwork. Jay-Z banked Douce Cognac, proudly displaying the bottle in music videos. George Strait co-signed Código 1530 Tequila. Rita Ora rolled out Prospero Tequila, and Metallica, because of course they did, released a whiskey called Blackened that's literally sonically enhanced by blasting Metallica's own music through the barrels during aging. Even the fashion world couldn't resist. Vera Wang has a Prosecco line called Vera Wang Party. Kendall Jenner made headlines some good, some very bad when she launched 818 Tequila and marketed it with a slick Instagram campaign that was immediately criticized for cultural appropriation. And then our personal favorite, Steven Soderbergh, the filmmaker behind Out of Sight and Magic Mike, decided to spend his spare time importing a Bolivian spirit called Singani. His brand, Singani 63, isn't a tequila or a vodka. It's a completely different category of liquor that barely existed in the US until he championed it. Leave it to Soderbergh to zig while everyone else zagged. Anyway, by the early 2020s, the shelves were packed. Walk down any liquor aisle and you'll see more famous faces than you do at the Met Gala Clooney. Reynolds, The Rock, Dylan, Jenner, Metallica. The question isn't who has a brand, it's who doesn't. Here's the thing. Not all these celebrities actually drink alcohol. A large part of a celebrity's brand or image will often focus around self-care and how they present themselves to the outside world, and not all of them want the negative aspects that can come along with lifelong drinking. This is where the whole business starts to feel slightly absurd. Bruno Mars has a rum brand despite being sober. David Beckham, who partnered with Haig Club Whiskey, has admitted he barely drinks the stuff. Even big-name actors like Emma Watson have flirted with distillery partnerships while keeping their own consumption minimal. In fact, Nathan Rabin wrote an entire piece venting about sober celebrities profiting from liquor without ever sipping the product themselves. It highlights the uncomfortable reality of the celebrity liquor boom. It's not about passion, it's about branding. It's like people only do things because they get paid. And that's just really sad. You don't have to drink it, you just have to sell the idea that you could. So with this endless cast of bottles, the question becomes, which one is actually the best? And that depends entirely on how you measure it. If we're talking sales, the answer is clear. Casamigos, Teremana, proper number 12 and 818 are monsters. Teremana in particular is growing at a wild pace, moving more than 1.6 million cases a year as of 2024. The Rock can't stop posting about it on Instagram, and his fans are clearly buying in. If we're talking critical acclaim, the story changes. Spirits critics tend to praise the depth and craft of Four Walls Irish-American whiskey, which is owned by Rob Mack, Charlie Day, and Glenn Howerton, the creators and stars of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Aviation gin gets decent marks too. Nothing revolutionary, but solid. Casamigos is consistently reviewed as smooth and approachable, even if tequila purists sometimes roll their eyes at how sweet it is. Meanwhile, some brands get absolutely torched. Proper number 12 has been called bottom shelf in a fancy suit. Kendall Jenner's 818, meanwhile, has been roasted as a mediocre product wrapped in influencer packaging. And then there's uniqueness. On that front, there's the Finnish long drink that Miles Teller fronts, but nothing beats Steven Soderbergh's Singani 63. It's literally in its own category. While everyone else was scrambling to slap their face on a tequila, Soderbergh spent years lobbying the US government to recognize Singani as a distinct spirit. That's not just branding, that's cultural ambassadorship. So the best-selling, Casamigos and Teremana. The best-reviewed, Four Walls, or maybe Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul's Dos Hombres. The most unique, Singani 63. And maybe best isn't a single crown to be awarded. Maybe it's more like the Oscars. Categories, nuance, and a few head-scratching nominees. The question lingers, why does it feel like every celebrity has a liquor brand and not a furniture company or a chain of frozen yogurt shops? Part of it comes down to ease of entry. Most celebrity liquor brands don't actually distill anything. They partner with an established producer, handle the branding and marketing, and take home a percentage of the profits. Compared to starting a restaurant where you have to deal with staff, food costs, leases, and health inspections, liquor is practically plug and play. Then there's the fungibility factor. To the average consumer, most mid-tier tequilas or vodkas taste more or less the same. The difference isn't in the liquid, it's in the name, and celebrities have names that sell. If you see a bottle of tequila you've never heard of and one that says George Clooney or The Rock on it, which one are you more likely to grab? Another factor is ownership versus endorsement. For decades, celebrities lent their faces to alcohol ads. Think of the endless beer commercials with athletes in the 80s and 90s. But again, why just endorse when you can own? Clooney's billion-dollar Casamigos sale proved that being an owner is infinitely more lucrative than being a spokesperson. And finally, there's lifestyle branding. Alcohol is inherently aspirational. It's about socializing, celebrating, and feeling elevated. That aligns perfectly with the image-making machine of celebrity culture. Drinking Clooney's tequila or Dylan's whiskey feels like a way of borrowing their aura. Nobody wants to smell like an actor's cologne anymore, but they might want to drink what he drinks. Like all trends, celebrity liquor will eventually hit a saturation point. There are only so many tequila bottles consumers can handle. Some brands will collapse under their own weight. Others will fade quietly into clearance aisles. But the model itself isn't going anywhere. Alcohol is too profitable, too evergreen, and too compatible with celebrity branding to disappear. Maybe the market for tequila gets oversaturated and the next wave moves into canned cocktails, non-alcoholic spirits, or THC-infused beverages. But the playbook is written. Attach fame to booze, outsource production, profit big. The only potential stumbling block is cultural. Younger generations drink less than their parents. Sober-curious movements are gaining traction. And if that trend keeps rising, the optics of sober celebrities profiting from liquor could backfire in a big way. But until then, the celebrity liquor boom is one of the safest bets in Hollywood. So what's the best celebrity liquor? Maybe best doesn't matter. These brands aren't really selling tequila or vodka or whiskey. They're selling a piece of the celebrity lifestyle. A shortcut to feeling like you're at George Clooney's dinner party or sitting courtside with LeBron. The liquid is almost secondary. Celebrity liquor is the horrific collision of capitalism and celebrity worship, a fungible product branded with fame sold to fans who want to taste a little bit of the magic. In other words, there's no business like show business except booze. So what do you think? And do you have a favorite celebrity liquor brand? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, check out some of these other videos from Weird History.